Of course, the narrative around this game as Arsenal travel to Wolves it's about Matheus Cunha, the £65-70 million apparently player. That's the fee Wolves would be looking for if they're to sell. Numerous reports saying that they're still not willing to. There's going to be very tough to get the player done, but the narrative has certainly changed in the last few games. We're going to go through some of the reports. We'll talk on the Benjamin Sesko stuff, but what I really want to discuss is why Matheus Cunha is a player that could have an impact at Arsenal, how he could, where my doubts are, but ultimately what I think he'd bring to this team and what we have to look out for on Saturday, because it's one of those. We kind of want him to play well because it might convince Arsenal to do the deal and we can get an idea of how good this player can be. But also I want 3 points. So it's play well but not too well. Will he play at all? We're going to explore all this. But let's go into the transfer news first and just establish what's going on with Arsenal. As we're at the 24th of Jan. Still nothing's been done 3.5 weeks into this window. It's feeling very, very quiet, though the intent from Arsenal is to sign a forward. Let's see if they do. But this, as we can see, aggregated by Doc from Sammy Mockbell, says that Arsenal do retain an interest in RB Leipzig's Sesko, but a deal looks increasingly unlikely this month. Leipzig are adamant that the player is not for sale, and Arsenal respecting the German club's position this month. Now, Sam C from the United Stand had said that Arsenal were in talks a week ago and actually doubled down on it this week, saying, yeah, look, Arsenal are looking to see if they can bring this one forward, but it's going to be difficult, as Sammy Mockbell has said there. Now, Cunha is a possibility because it first came out from Team News and Ticks. I covered it on AFTV that Team News and Ticks had said the situation got messy behind the scenes. In short, as I covered on the live as well on this channel, Cunha isn't signing a new deal with Wolves, even though he has agreed one. Arsenal have agreed personal terms with the player, but it's negotiating with the club that's going to be difficult. Now, Ryan Lester has come in with this tweet saying, it's my understanding that it's now more likely that Cunha will depart Wolves this window than stay. A number of Premier League clubs have apparently shown an interest, and the Brazilian is apparently keen to depart. Apparently Chelsea are one of those teams. Nottingham Forest have been linked. I think maybe Newcastle as well, might be wrong. He goes on to say, I'd be absolutely delighted to have this one wrong, and I hope he signs a new deal, but I'm not sure that will happen. Ryan Lester, as you can see here, host and producer of the Wolves Report podcast. So, I'm going to be very honest, not being a Wolves fan, I'm not entirely familiar with the reliability of Ryan Lester, but he's probably quite well positioned to have an idea of what's going on. He wasn't the only person that said it. Someone else came through and verified that reports, and of course it marries up with what Team News and Ticks has said as well. So there's plenty out there to suggest that this is absolutely doable for Arsenal, that there is every chance that Arsenal are going to be picking up a player like Matheus Cunha potentially because of this contract situation getting messy behind the scenes and him not actually signing the deal that he's agreed to, but it's going to cost Arsenal some money. So with all that being said, with the criticism he's recently had from the manager, of course, as well, there was criticism about thanking the away fans or something. There's a lot of questions. Will he play against Arsenal? If he does, will he perform? He wasn't that good against Chelsea the other night. And if he does perform, if he does play, what could that look like? Well, let me start by doing this bit of breakdown on Matheus Cunha, showing you his goals and his Premier League goal data in the 24-25 season. Because in 21 appearances, he has 10 goals. You should know he's got 4 assists with that too. So 14 GA is not bad in 21 games at all. It's very good output. 4 of those goals have come outside the box, and 4 of those goals have been one-touch finishes. Well, let's go to the tactical pad and show you these goals. And I think goals are largely going to come from central spaces, so I don't think there's much to say there. I think if you went through Martinelli and Trossard's goals, you're going to find they're going to come from central spaces. But we've got the goals in red, we've got the blue, the assists in blue. Let me start by highlighting. We'll do it in yellow. I want to highlight some of these from outside the box. And of course, you've got one from the corner. That's probably going to make Nicolas Jova want him. Oh, you're good from corners, are you? Brilliant. 3 goals from outside the box, 4 actually if you include the corner, but 3 from those areas here, and we'll show it in a green. That's a horrible green. Let's use this one. I think this is an area of the pitch that Arsenal don't do anywhere near enough in. In green, we're showing you that box that I think Arsenal don't access enough. And it's also an area that when we do, we don't get strikes at goal very often. I've talked about needing moments players. I've talked about needing players that can really punish teams from there. To be honest, I think Trossard has that in him. We so often use Trossard in that area of the pitch. he's often out the touchline. I think he can hurt teams from there. So some of it is a tactical thing too. But I think Matheus Cunha can give us something that really hurts teams in that area of the pitch. And as you can see, it's not just with the goals, which we've highlighted in yellow, but it's actually with the assists too. Let's show this in a darker blue, I suppose. Here we go. These assists from these areas of the pitch, really good through balls, really good kind of, often he's driving at teams, players are running forward, attacking that space, he's been able to pick off really, really good passes. When I see how much he's hurt teams from this area of the pitch via either an assist or a goal, and I mean even slightly further forward, very central strikes too, in kind of, here we go, in this area of the pitch, he's accessing that penalty area spot. And like I said, the D on the edge of the penalty area, zone 14 as they call it, very, very often, and hurting teams from it a lot in just one half of a campaign as well. I don't think we do this enough. It makes me feel that he's much more of a false nine if he comes in. He's going to be competing with Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz will probably get midfield minutes if he's going to keep his place in the team or play out on the right, because we still haven't sorted that position. That's not something I really want to see, let me say. But I just think the idea of him being a touchline winger in this Arsenal side, look, when you watch the comps, of which I have done, I've been trying to catch up on lots of football and try to get an idea of what Cunha does. He's almost like, you ever played football and you're, at school or whatever, and there's that kid on the playground who's better than everyone, and he can do everything, right? He'll drift out to the left and he'll run at players, he'll be in central midfield because the coach will want him in more central spaces, but they'll also get the most goals. He feels like that player who's just simply Wolves' best player, and he'll do everything from the touchline, in the middle, he'll show that tenacity, he'll get goals, he'll get assists, he'll drive a team forward, he'll have the big moments, he'll have the big goals and big games, like a goal at Villa Park with a brilliant strike from the edge of the area. He's got that ability to do so many different things in a game because he's Wolves' best player, and I wonder whether Arsenal would give him that freedom, would give him that sort of responsibility to go and be the main man. But I think if he's going to do it, it's got to be from the 9 position, dropping into spaces, combining with players. He's got good tech, he's got good pace, sure. Out on the wing though, I think he's got enough in terms of pace and drive to do something from that area. I mean, Trossard's doing really well, and he's not got kind of raw pace to be killing teams out on the touchline. But I just think he's going to be coming in as a false 9. When his output has been 10 goals in the first half of the Premier League campaign, I think you've got to keep playing him and hoping he gets to that 20 tally and kind of getting him again in that 9 spot and making him your kind of lead source for goals, especially in the absence of the Bukayo Saka. Where I have my doubts with him as a natural winger comes here as well. Let me show you his heat map for the Premier League this season. Yes, out on the left, yes, drop into the left back spot. I mean, to obviously do a lot of defending at times, but lots of touches centrally and plenty of touches out on the right. I mean, in that attacking half, he's covering so many different areas, including the penalty area too. If I show you Martinelli's Premier League heat map by comparison, it's way more out the touchline. It's way more out on that sort of, I don't want to say left half space because it's actually beyond that. It's sort of out on the left byline, running it fullbacks a lot too. Yes, a little bit on the right when he has been playing minutes there. But if I show you Trossard's, it's exactly the same. So much of football out on that touchline. I think with Cunha playing in a 3-4-3, and when you're in the front through that 3-4-3, you are playing as more of a 10/winger. So yes, there'll be plenty of comms of him doing good work on the left wing where maybe Wolves are transitioning, he's getting the ball, he's having to carry his team up the pitch on the counter-attack. That is where the space will have manifested itself throughout the game. I don't really see that as a position he's going to be largely holding in an Arsenal side. I think he'll have to be more central. So I think this, if we're going to spend 60 to 70 million pounds on Cunha, is very much a striker signing, a 9 signing, not a winger for me. Not when you've got Martinelli and Trossard who are hitting form, playing out on the left, Sterling who's not doing it on the right and is probably his best out on the left as well, and you're adding Cunha to that. I think he'd be coming as a striker, especially with the absence of Gabi Jesus for 9 months. Before the Jesus injury, I didn't understand spending this money on Cunha. Now I do, because we're not even just talking about doing a job for now, we're talking about doing a job for the next 18 months potentially, and he has got the quality to more than do a job. So yes, I would spend the money. If it's going to take 65-70 million pounds, I would do it, and that signing looks a lot more likely today than it did a few weeks ago. So I'd be interested to see if we see him try to hurt Arsenal from those central spaces against us on the weekend. I hope he obviously doesn't, but of course we want to see a player that's got some quality and get a real idea for what he could add to this Arsenal team. Now, some quick other transfer news. This came in from Fabrizio Romano, an exclusive that Man United made contact to Arsenal for 18-year-old talent Aiden Heaven. United are leading the race to sign Heaven, while Eintracht Frankfurt and Barcelona made approaches. Arsenal have offered a new deal as well. The interesting thing about Aiden Heaven is that he was playing in pre-season at centre-back. Apparently that's where Arsenal see him long-term, but some reports, some stuff online from people that follow the academy really well, have said that his group, the people around Aiden Heaven, believe that he's more of a midfielder. That's where he kind of grew up, but like Lewis Skelly, it's kind of being moulded into a new position, but there's some resistance on Aiden Heaven's side in terms of developing into that position, apparently. So let's see. I mean, we'll just have to see how this all works out. I thought he looked good in pre-season. It'd be a shame to lose him. And this from Matt Law, saying that Borussia Dortmund are ready to move for Alexander Zinchenko, the left back expected to leave Arsenal before the transfer window shuts. Story with Sam Dean, who brought the news. And yeah, my overall thoughts on this are I would like to keep him. I think especially because we're so depleted in midfield as well, I just think it's worth keeping him as a midfield option as well as a left back. However, I get it. Lewis Skelly, probably Tomiyasu, probably Calafiori are all ahead of Zinchenko. Kieran Tierney's even fit now and can play a part. So I get it. I understand why this is, if you're going to get good money for him, and I think they're saying loan with an obligation. If you get around 20 million, it's probably business Arsenal shouldn't really pass up. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you make of Matheus Cunha? Is he the kind of player that could elevate Arsenal, give us a good push for, well, already in the second half of the season, but what's left of the season in 2025? What do you think of Zinchenko, Aiden Heaven, those potential moves? Would love to know your thoughts. Hit the like button if you did enjoy this video, and please subscribe to the channel if you're liking this kind of comment. Would really appreciate any feedback in the comments. And yeah, like I said, if you're enjoying it, just subscribe and you'll be kept up to date when we are uploading on the channel. Shorts will be coming out as well, keeping you up to date with all my latest reaction to all the news. Max has worked really hard to get things in position so we can actually be reacting to news a lot more on the spot, and with, you know, shorts being longer than a minute now, you get far more reaction to things as they're happening in the Arsenal space. Catch you very soon.